Hey, I hope you guys are doing well. In this video, we are going to be looking at L Brands. It's going to be ticker symbol LB. Now, L Brands is comprised of three subsidiaries, really, and that's going to be Bath and Body Works, Victoria's Secret, and then Pink, which is kind of like a spin-off of Victoria's Secret, with some different products included in there. Now, I just want to catch you guys up to speed on really the news that has been around L Brands, as their price is now almost tripled from the March lows as we head into its earnings coming up this week. Now, L Brands has really been struggling over the past 5 to 6 years now, and they are continually looking at these cost-reducing initiatives, and that continues throughout these past few months as they are looking to reduce the amount of at-home workers or employees, reducing that with Victoria's Secret alone by about 15%, and then also looking at reducing the amount of storefronts that they have by about 250 stores to cut down on the amount of cost there. So in their previous earnings report, they had stated that while in the next quarter they're looking at about 20% less net sales, they're looking at about 10% more in revenue, basically signifying that yes, costs are now being cut down, and we are still able to sell a lot of products and bring in a fair amount of revenue. Now, this is really nothing new over the past 5 years with L Brands as they have continued to see their sales decrease. They continue to look at these cost-cutting initiatives. And the chart really does show that. So we had our peak up here at about $100 in the later stages of 2015, and then we started to see the share price kind of fall down from there. And every time we saw one of these big drops, we would see news articles come out, press releases of the company eliminating cost, bringing down their overhead, getting rid of employees, just really trying to cut down on those costs. And we would see a surge in the stock price back to the upside. And then as it kind of stabilized, the volume kind of went down, and it was just waiting for that next big thing that was further going to sink the stock price down lower. And again, this has been going on for about 5 years. And when you look into the company's financials, we can find that they have a lot of debt, and they also have a lot of long-term liabilities which outweigh their long-term assets. So really not good when we're looking at this from the long-term perspective as we move to the next year to 3 years or so. Now, with that all said, the target price for L Brands is fluctuating between about $20 and $30 a share, and a lot of institutions have come out and they have moved or raised their target price for L Brands around that $26 price point, which is where we are currently sitting as we move into the earnings next week. Now, I do want to point out a few things here on this weekly long-term chart here up on the screen, and then we'll break it down into the more near term and kind of get some more relevant price levels for how we have currently been trading. So one thing that I do want to point out here is that we are currently at a psychological resistance, right, when we are looking at this from a long-term perspective. That while it was the L Brands was trading from about 2000 to 2006, we had this peak up here at about $26. We can really call it, if we want to have a more substantial level, is about $25 as being this resistance. So let me go ahead and chalk that into the chart, and I'll just go ahead and put it in right there. So it's about what we're looking at. So I want to keep that level in mind, as it may turn out to be a fair support if this comes back down, or if we break through it and then try and come back up, a pretty strong resistance. And we can kind of see that right in here as we are coming back out of the the 2008 financial crisis came up, and that was our top right around, okay, we'll call it 24, and then when we broke through, it acted as a support. So that's a nice level that we can see here on the weekly time frame. You can also see that these have kind of played out a little bit here in the more recent years, as we found that support down around $24 a share, and then when we broke through, we really weren't able to hang above it. And as we finally gained that support consolidation and pushed back up, 24 was a level that we could not crack through. Now we have had 2 consecutive weeks where we have closed above it, so I think that is a positive sign. But do note that here we have the 200-day moving average that we actually closed below. You can see we poked above it here this previous week and got all the way up into the 28s, and then we sold back down. Didn't close red, but closed right around where we started the week, right on that 200-day moving average. So from this kind of signifies to me that we might see a pullback down towards that $24 price point as we open up this week. And then when it comes down to the earnings, that might have a big sway in the price as to if we are going to swing back down lower, say somewhere down here around the $19 price point, or maybe push higher. And from that, I would have a price point somewhere in the lower 30s, where we were seeing these bottoms form and then tops form in 2018. Again, a lot of red flags here with L Brands as far as their long-term ability to stay afloat. But if we continue to see, as they said in their previous report, that they are wanting to cut a lot of costs, and that will not necessarily bring a lot of sales to the company, but overall their revenue will continue to go up and hopefully make them more profitable for the future as they kind of change their path as we move throughout this new decade. So that is the weekly time frame. Now I can move it in here towards the 6-month, 4-hour time frame, and you can kind of see what we have been doing over these past few months. And again, here is how we have really tripled the value of the stock from those March lows. As we pushed back up, we did incur a little bit of resistance along the way. I want to put in a support down here at about $14 as we saw that as being a resistance. A resistance kind of got up here towards about $16. We could also mark one in there, but the major support that I'm looking at here is about $14. And then you can see as we broke through it, and we broke through 16, when we came back down, that is right around where we saw that support was right around, between 14 up here towards about $16 a share was that support, and that further led us up here, along with some positive news, some encouraging information from L Brands itself with its cost-cutting measures, and then also a change of CEOs from the Bath & Body Works CEO, and then the CEO of L Brands stepping down. Still will be on the board, but now the Bath & Body Works CEO will be stepping in to be CEO of L Brands. And then here was a lot of institutions that we're increasing the target price for L Brands. So that shot us from about $19, which was that previous resistance, and you can kind of see that was where we saw the drop off here in March. So we saw that big fall, and that was that previous resistance, and that sent us up and above, all the way up and above $24 a share. So that's going to be a big support here at 24, and then a big support down here at about $20 per share. But realize that this is kind of a gap fill. While there was some trading back here in February, if we do crack down below 24, we can quickly see this turn and swing all the way down here towards $20 a share, which is going to be a big swing if you are holding that in your portfolio or making that trade. You're going to be looking at about a 15% to 20% loss. So do keep that in mind. I'm sure there will be a lot of buyers down here at 24 that are going to try and hold the price up if we do retrace back down to that level. If we quickly fail through it, keep that in mind that this stock will most likely trade all the way down here towards 20, whether it's over the span of a couple days or a couple of weeks. And then from there, kind of gauge how we got down to that level. And then here we can move it in kind of closer. Again, it's not going to be a whole lot of difference. This stock has really kind of been overextended over the past 20 days or so with that news right in there. But for the most part, it just seems to have these big pushes. It consolidates and then makes a higher high, which is good from the chart. But again, looking at that weekly time frame, notice that we are above that, or right at that 200-day moving average, which we have not been above or actually closed above in about 5 years. So to me, that is a big bearish sign that we should most likely see a pullback in this in L Brands as we close out this coming week. Again, there's a lot riding on this earnings along with the future forecast of L Brands that is going to come in that earnings call. So for me, I am going to sit on the sidelines, and if anything, I would want to be short L Brands as we go into this week. But if we do have a really strong earnings report from this company, I will be looking up there towards about $28 a share as being a strong resistance, and from there into the lower 30s, so we'll call it about 31, and then up here at about $33 to $35. But again, I'm looking to see it pull back down somewhere in that $20 price point before making maybe a push back higher towards that 28 mark. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like or leave a comment on what you think or where you think L Brands will be going as we trade throughout this week and into the rest of the year. So with that, I'll catch you guys in the next one.